Hey guys, today I'm talking about how to make a safe personal insecticide. Now, I often use the off-brand, the Smooth and Dry brand, because we have a massive problem with insects biting, gnats and things like that. So this is my go-to as far as the commercial personal insecticides that I use, but I'm going to show you how to make a personal insecticide that's completely safe, and it's maybe not quite as effective, but it's 80 to 90% as effective as something with DEET in it or something that's a lot stronger that you would find at your local big box store. So let's go out into the garden and I'll show you exactly the ingredients, and I'll take you into the house and show you exactly how to make it. It's a multi-day process, but it's very simple and it's not hard to do at all. Now, the first thing I'm going to use is I'm going to take maybe 5 or 6 stalks of this mint and put it in our container. And this mint comes back year after year. It's a perennial. It dies back a little bit in the winter and it just rebounds in the spring. So I always have this the entire summer. I don't use a lot of it, but I use, like I said, 4 or 5, maybe 6 stalks per batch that I make of this organic personal insecticide. Now, the next thing I use is the spearmint. Same idea. I just take maybe 4 stalks at a time, because we're not making a massive batch of this, but this spearmint comes back year after year. It's been in this bed for over 10 years, and something like this, we'll just purchase it once and it will spread like crazy. You really do need a container for it because it will just get out of control. Now, this is lemon balm, and it truly does smell like citronella, and so I do the same thing here. I get about 4 or 5 stalks of this, and now we have almost all of our ingredients. We have one more to get from the garden, and it's probably one that I've talked about before, but we'll head out to another area of the yard and I'll grab a few stalks of it. Now, this rosemary is the last of our 4 plant ingredients. And so I'm going to take about 4, maybe 5 stems of the rosemary, and we'll head into the house and I'll show you exactly how to turn this into a long-lasting organic personal insecticide. Okay guys, so we're going to start out with 2 cups of water. Then we're going to put all of our plants into our blender. Now, I've got kind of a heavy duty blender, so it's quite strong, but we're going to stuff it all in there, push it down to the bottom to make sure it gets mixed properly. I may have to come back and cut it into smaller pieces if it doesn't blend well. But we're taking all of our plant product, and there's 2 more products we're going to add after the fact. So we're going to put all of our plants in here and mince them up well into very fine, as fine as we can get it before we go on to the next step. Now, I've blended it as fine as possible because I want to get all those possible oils and all the oils that are in there. I want to get them into our solution. We're going to need to strain this very carefully, put it in a specialized bag, and make sure that we maximize the amount of oil. But now we'll go on to step 2. Then we're going to cut our stove on just to a medium heat, and we want to pour our solution into a small saucepan, and we're going to want to make sure we scoop all of the residue out because we want to put it in here and bring this to a very soft boil. So let's see if I can get this out without making a giant mess, but our goal here is to get as much of the oils out, and I don't want to add a lot more water, but I may have to put a little bit of water into our container so we can get a majority of our puree out here. And wow, it is very strong smelling, and that's exactly what we want. We want it to have a very strong odor. All right, we've brought our solution up to a very light boil. I'm going to cut our heat off and let this cool for a minute. And once it's cooled down, we're going to put it into our steeping bag, put it back in our pitcher, and let that sit overnight so the solution in the water can absorb a lot of those essential oils. I'm just going to stir this while it cools down and go on to the next step. Now we're going to do this over the sink so we don't make a giant mess. But we're going to take our puree now that it's cooled from the stove. And I'm going to pour that. And I'm making a big mess. I'm sure my wife's going to be upset about that. But we're going to pour this into our cloth bag. And we want to catch as much of the material here as possible, because if this ends up in our spray bottle, it's going to clog it. So I'm just going to carefully pour that into the bag, get as much of the liquid there, and it's going to slowly come out. The essential oils will be in it. I'm going to tighten the top of the bag. I'll put a link to these bags in the description. I've had these for a long time. I've used them for a lot of different purposes. Now I'm going to add 2 more cups of water to this. I know I've made a giant mess here, so I'll clean that up. But I'm going to add 2 more cups of water to our solution. We're going to put that in the fridge overnight, and then tomorrow we're going to add it to a couple more ingredients when it goes into the final spray bottle. Now we're adding just 2 cups of filtered water to our picture, and we want this to steep as much as possible into our picture, and we're going to put this in the fridge, and that'll be our last step before we go into the last 2 ingredients. Okay, so through the magic of editing is the next day, and our solution is nice and cool. It's been in the refrigerator overnight. We're going to add our last 2 ingredients. One is cayenne pepper powder. We're only going to do about a half a teaspoon of this, and this is an optional thing. If you think you might have an allergic reaction to this, test it on a small area of your skin. Don't spray this all over you. Obviously, don't spray it on your face or near your eyes. If you do need to spray on your face, you get a lot of bites around your face, then just delete this part and don't add any to it. Now, the last ingredient we're putting in our solution here is 1 teaspoon of a free and clear liquid dish soap. We're going to add that in there. We're going to carefully mix that, and we'll be ready to go. Now next I'm going to use a coffee milk frother that I use for my morning coffee, and I'm just going to stir this up to make sure it's well mixed, make sure the cayenne pepper and the soap are well mixed into our ingredient bag here. And the last thing we want to do is we want to put this into a small spray bottle, and we'll keep this in the fridge, and as needed we'll bring it out, spray it directly on our skin, and we'll have a completely organic personal insecticide that has no harmful ingredients. Yes, there is soap in there, and I'm sure there will be some percentage of people that say they don't want to use the soap. You don't have to, it's optional. But these ingredients will definitely keep the biting gnats and mosquitoes off of you. I always recommend keep this in the fridge. This is not shelf stable like a industrial pesticide that you get at the big box store. So just remember, keep it in the fridge, and as you need it, spray it on you. It'll feel cool and refreshing. And we're just going to do our last step. Take it outside, spray it on us, and we'll bring it back when we're through for the day and store it in our fridge. So this mixture, I believe, will last up to about a month, about 30 days. And if you keep it proper in the refrigerator, you don't leave it out where it might go bad, I think it could last even longer than that. But I'm just going to give it about 30 days because that's about how long it lasts me. I usually use this up pretty quickly because we have a lot of biting mosquitoes. Now, we also have gnats, and there's not a lot you can do about gnats, but there is something specific you can do about mosquitoes, and that's by using mosquito bits. I have lots of bonsai around the property. I have a lot of humidity trays under them, and they all hold about ½ an inch of water. And in the past, before I started using these, you would see the mosquito larvae swimming around in there, but I didn't want to put anything toxic in the water because occasionally our cats will jump up and drink the water from the trays. So we put these in there, and it's perfectly safe. This is mosquito bits. You can buy it on Amazon, eBay, Lowe's, lots of different places you can get it. I'll put a link down below if you'd like just to buy it online and have it shipped to your house the easy way. But as far as biting gnats go, I don't believe this is going to help for those, but it will definitely cut down on the number of mosquitoes because I'll go through each one of my bonsai trays and look at the humidity tray and see nothing swimming around. So these work great. I would highly recommend using these. If you have any standing water around your property and you have pets where you don't want to put an insecticide into the water that might hurt or harm pets. So guys, I just want to say thanks so much for watching, and I really appreciate it. Have a great day.